What's up, State of Search? Ryan Jones coming at you live from my basement bar. Figured since we can't have a drink in person, we'll do the next best thing. So I've got my whiskey here. And since I'm recording, this is like take 19. So this is glass 2 or 3 of whiskey. So you guys are in for a real treat. Anyway, this session is called A Now Forward Approach to Keyword Research. Let's talk about me. I'm Ryan Jones. I run the SEO team at Razorfish. My Twitter handle is just Ryan Jones, and here's some other information about me on the screen if you want to get a hold of me. Honestly, Twitter is the best way. All right, but enough about me. Let's dive into keyword research. Keyword research as we know it is broken. It doesn't work. We need a better way. So let's take an example. Here's a keyword research from Google Keyword Planner for Dallas concerts, right? And if we look at the keywords that are showing up in this keyword research from Google Keyword Planner, we notice one thing in common between all these keywords. They've all already happened. This information isn't useful to me because all of these keywords happened in the past. Every one of these concerts is over, especially now with COVID, right? With COVID happening, people's searches have changed. No one's looking for these concerts, especially not 2019 Dallas concerts. And I pulled this data about a week and a half ago. 2020 is almost over, and Google's telling me 2019 keywords. We need a better way. Current keyword tools, whether it's Google or any of the other famous tools out there, because they rely on Google, use old data. Here's a search for Carnival Cruises we did for a client. The top term there, Carnival Cruise 2019, gets 60,000 searches a month, but Carnival Cruises 2020 gets 27,000 searches a month? That can't be accurate. Which one of these do you think really gets more keyword searches? Right? We can't trust the data. It's old. It's outdated. There has to be a better way. And COVID changed all that for the worse. Relying on outdated data might have worked in the past. But ever since COVID came along, searcher trends changed instantly. People suddenly started a whole new way of searching. How we behave online, how we act online, what we look for, what we do. Everything changed overnight. And everything became about what I'm going to call now forward. What happened in the past doesn't necessarily correlate to what's going to happen in the future anymore. Because things are constantly changing. It's 2020. Our world is upside down. We have no idea what's going to happen next. We do have liquor, though. Right? And search itself is also changing. Google keeps rolling out all these new features. Bing's rolling out new features. Right? Things that show up in search are quickly changing. So here we have a graph. Bright Edge provided this for me. It's a great graph. But it shows the percentage of people also ask snippets, and it shows the percentage of quick answers showing in Google. And as you can see, people also ask is growing. It was huge in January when they rolled it out. Some of you caught me at Rocks Digital last year, also in Dallas, saw some really in-depth graphs about that. But the takeaway here is search is changing. What's showing up in search results is changing because how people search are changing. And so we want to take advantage of that. Can we use this data? Can we use this new search landscape to our advantage when we do keyword research and when we're planning our marketing campaigns? We need new data. So where do we look to get new data? If we can't just get data from Keyword Planner and search tools, which, by the way, don't stop getting data from those tools, use it. We need new data to augment that. We need additional new data. So where can we get that data? Right? Let's take a look at that Carnival Cruise search that I alluded to earlier. Here on the left is the Keyword Planner data, but on the right are some search features from Google. We got the people also ask box showing up, and we got the searches related to Carnival Cruise, which shows up at the very bottom of Google searches for pretty much every search you do. And if we look at this data, the people also ask questions are way more up to date. They're talking about, are they being canceled? And the related searches are showing how people refine their searches. That data is updated way more often, at least it seems, than the Keyword Planner data. And so maybe we can use that data. Can we gather any keyword learnings or keyword insights from that data to use in our marketing programs? Let's scrape it. So here we go. I did a search for Gillies Dallas because it's where we should be this year, even though we're not. But hey, still have whiskey. And on the left, you see the chart of the output here of scraping that related keyword data. It shows what keyword led to what other keyword led to what other keyword. And doing this is really simple. The Python script that you see on the right is enough to get you this CSV file. It's not that much code. So if you want it, just find this presentation or hit me up and I'll share with you this code to scrape that related search data and you're on your way, at least partially on your way. But actually, against the Google best practices or guidelines to do that. So officially, I'm going to tell you don't do it. But it's really easy if you wanted to. And then we can visualize that data. Here's that same data that I just pulled, visualized in a way that shows me what keyword led to what. It's not as useful. It's a little more useful to me in this PowerPoint format or in this Excel format than it is in this visualization format, but it's way more useful to clients in this visual format. Clients don't like spreadsheets. This resonates with them. They can see how people refine their data, their search for data search and refine that search and what leads to what. And I built this for you. This is on SEOdataviz.com. If you want to use it or do this type of stuff, this Python scraper here, I recoded it in PHP. It's running on SEO DataViz. It'll give you this data. It'll give you this visualization. It's free. It's not really a plug. Just go do it. Start using this extra data however you want to. But we don't have to stop there. We can go further with data. We talked about People Also Ask data earlier in the presentation being up to date. And this is that People Also Ask data. This is both scraped and visualized. The code's a little too big to fit on the screen, and it requires some knowing what you're doing in Python, a lot of knowing what you're doing in Python or any other programming language. And it requires a little bit of code know-how, but if you have the basics, there's a GitHub link here. Go ahead, check it out. You can run this scraper, get this type of output here that shows you what questions led to what other questions. And this alone is pretty useful. I love showing this graph to clients. I love letting them take a look. Here's the questions people are asking about your brand, about your topics. Maybe we can create some content to answer these questions. And maybe we can't, right? For somehow a Gillies Dallas question led us to what is Pasadena, Texas famous for, right? It goes off in a little ways, but maybe don't answer that question. And it talks about Billy Bob's, but honestly, we get some insights. We can know from this data that people searching for Gillies are also searching for Billy Bob's. They like Texas music. They like honky tonks. They like the music scene. So that's useful. We can put a comparison page out there. We can use this data as is. But this wouldn't be a me presentation if I just said, here, use this data as is. We have to go a step further. We have to take this to the next level. So that's what we're going to do. Let's take it to the next level. We need a new approach. We have new data. We talked about how to get new data and where it comes from. Told you this is going to be a fun presentation. It's going to be drinking. Right? So we got our new data. Now, what do we do with that new data? How do we use it? How do we use it to our advantage? Our new approach is grounded in two principles. The first principle is the Pareto principle. What 20% of effort is going to get me 80% of the results? Everybody knows about the Pareto principle. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it. If not, Google it. But where am I going to get the most bang for my buck is basically that. And then the second principle, as I alluded to earlier, people hate spreadsheets. If I give a spreadsheet like this, I forget what this is an export from because I can't see it, it's far away. But if I give a spreadsheet like this to my content author or my creative team or my account or my client, they're going to be like, what do I do with this? They don't get it. They don't understand it. Spreadsheets are for data geeks like me and hopefully you guys to dive in and find the nuggets, but they're not client deliverables. They're not presentables. They're not going to help non-SEOs. So let's use that Pareto principle. Let's use the fact that people hate spreadsheets and let's come up with a new approach. Some of you who've seen me talk in the past have seen me talk about using data visualization for links, right? The background you see on this slide is actually 5 major different liquor companies and all their links, every link of their webpage and every link on the internet that links to them and how they cross-link. And it's a really cool graph we did with a program called Gephi, which I'll get into later. And we've done this in the past. I have presentations that talk about this. But we want to know, can we use this approach for keyword research? It works really good for links to graph them in a network. It's pretty cool. It's great. It can be useful when looking at your own website, to find broken links or find orphan pages. Again, whole different topic, whole nother presentation. Hit me up. We'll talk about that. Point is, how do we use this approach for keyword research? And can we throw in some natural language processing? SEOs love to talk about natural language processing and BERT and RankBrain and all that fun stuff, none of which we're going to get into in this topic. We're just going to scratch the basics, but I hope I can inspire some thought starters to get you guys thinking at the next level and get you guys thinking about natural language processing and how it can apply to keyword research. First, we got to talk about n-grams. N-grams are kind of like the building blocks of anything natural language processing related. If we look at the definition, an n-gram is a contiguous sequence of n items from a given sample of text or speech. and that doesn't help us. Bet you a lot of people are confused by that definition. So let's break it down really easy what an n-gram is, because we have to understand this before we can understand the next few slides. If we take our sentence, this is a sentence. An n-gram is just basically combinations of words, right? So for a 1 gram or a unigram, it'd be every word. This is a sentence. Each word is a 1 gram, unigram, n-gram, whatever you want to call it. For 2 or bigrams, it'd be every combination of 2 words. So this is a sentence. Same thing with 3 and 4 and so on. Trigrams would be, this is a sentence. And this is the very basic building blocks of natural language processing. This is nothing kind of like what BERT does or what any of those fancy algorithms do, but without breaking text down into n-grams, none of those algorithms could theoretically work. So we're gonna stick with this concept here, and instead of looking at actual keywords, we're gonna try and look at n-grams and see where that gets us. Right? So this is moving from keywords to entities, or to n-grams. And so we took that same keyword research we did for Gillies earlier, and we broke it down into n-grams. And the code to do this is really simple. I can do it in Python in 4 or 5 lines of code tops. I wrote you guys a tool at this link here to do it. You just upload your keyword list and you'll get this graph out of there. I figured I'd save you guys some time. Again, don't really make any money with this, not a plug, but built you a tool to go do it. And you can see when we take our Google related searches and first we strip out the common words like is and the things no one cares about in keyword research. And then we break it down into n-grams. And then we box in, the size of the boxes here are based on how many times the n-gram occurs. Colors mean nothing, it's just pretty. But the bigger the box means that n-gram shows up more often. So Dallas is big because Dallas showed up in a lot of the different n-grams or a lot of different keywords in the keyword research. But we can instantly start to see things that are interesting. Capacity shows up. It's interesting to people. Urban cowboy, I don't know what that is, but I'm sure some of you that go to Gillies or live in Dallas would know a little more. The bull shows up in here. People are interested in that. Even though bull isn't a keyword that Gillies is ranking for or that Google's suggesting, we know that people searching for Gillies are interested in the bull. The food menu shows up, right? No surprises there. Parking, there's a lot of parking n-grams showing up. People are concerned about parking. And we can start to get to insights here. These aren't actual keywords people type, but it's topics, for lack of a better term, it's topics that people are interested in. It's what's going to resonate with people. It's what people want to read about. It's what people are searching for, even if they don't call it by name. And now we can start to craft our content strategy based on that. We can do this with the Google Natural Language Toolkit too. Google has this online, cloud.google.com/natural-language. You can go there, you can pass in your web page content or your any text content you want, and it'll break it out into entities for you. Now, you see the entities here from the Gillies website are a little, little different because Google's looking at their actual entity engine for things that they know of. And, if we go back here, parking and the bowl and, menu, events, ballroom, those aren't actual known things to Google. So they're not going to show up in here, but it's really worth looking at this too, just to see, what kind of insights you can get from that Google tool as well. We're going to stick with our approach. This is fun to play with and do some cool things with too, probably beyond the scope of this presentation. One of the things I love to do with n-grams though is compare the content of what people are looking for to the content on the actual web page. And so here's what we did for Blue Apron, one of our clients. When we initially took over the account, is we looked at the content on their web page, and we built a tool that takes all their website content and runs it through this same n-gram analysis. And then we did the same thing with keyword research that we pulled from various sources. And you can see there's a clear disconnect. The website, at least when you break it down like this, is all about, hey, we ship wine, and log in, we ship wine. And if you're Blue Apron, that's probably not the message you wanted to send to customers. It's probably, hey, we got fresh food delivery, right? We can deliver meals. And you can see, or meal kits, or any of that stuff. And so the keyword research is clearly different than the content on the homepage. And so that's one of the things we help them fix, or are helping them fix going through. But this really resonates with clients. You can show them, hey, here's what an algorithm might think about your website, and here's what searchers are looking for, and it doesn't match up. And clients just get that. It works so much better than a spreadsheet. And you now have the tools to do this. So go use the free tools I did and steal my method, which I shouldn't be giving away in this talk, but go for it. All right. So how can we better display that data? We have n-grams. We've got them. We've got math. But can we take that a step further? Let's do it. So 3-step process. We want to break the n-grams down into topics. So n-grams is great, but also I don't want car and cars. I want them to be the same thing because they are the same thing. I want to keep track of which topics occurred in the same n-gram as each other, or which n-grams occurred in the same keyword as each other, however you want to just explain it. And I want to keep track of which related searches led to other related searches, or which people also asked led to other people also asked, because I don't want to lose the data about how people refine their searches as they search through Google. And so with the example here with Carnival Cruises, we can start to map it. Carnival Cruise led to Carnival Cruise deals. And so we can start drawing a map between Carnival Cruise and deals because they led to each other. And then there's discount. That didn't show up as much in relation to Carnival Cruise and deals. So it's still linked, but we'll color that a different color. And so now we know, hey, people searching for Carnival also search for deals and cruise. And people searching for cruise also search for discount and deals in their search term. And they didn't search discount as much with cruise and deals as they did with maybe something else that we're going to graph later. And so we can start to draw this picture. And it's not a super clear picture, but it becomes more useful when you add more keywords in. And what that means is we take from our spreadsheet on the left here, we can create graphs like this that all of a sudden show us that relationship between keywords or n-grams or topics or however you want to graph it and ideas. And we've built a custom tool, which sadly you can't use, but I'll show you anyway. But you can do this on your own. If you have a spreadsheet that looks like this, source target, just one thing on the left, another thing on the right. And it's just a mapping, right? This thing links to this thing. You can create that pretty easy with the scraper I gave you guys. It does it in this format already, the Python scraper, or you can do it with your own data. You can use a free program called Gephi, gephi.org. It's linked down here. There's a small learning curve, as far as what settings work best. There's a ton of different articles out there. I know I've seen some on Search Engine Land. I've seen Ian Laurie, I think, even did an article about how to use Gephi to do links. But if you replace links with keywords, it's the same thing. Again, we can talk about that later. I don't have time today to go through all the steps of how to use Gephi to actually graph stuff, but you can figure it out. You can tweet me. We can talk about it. Or you can use kind of what we did, right? So this is our kind of what we use as a custom implementation here. It's based on a lot of open source programs out there, a lot of open source code, but we tweaked it a bit. And so after we pull out the n-grams from our people also asked and related search data, we graph it in the way I talked about graphing it. And so words with links between them mean that one question or related search with that word led to another question or related search also containing that word. And words of the same color occurred next to each other in those related searches or those people also asked searches. And so you see make and dinner are the same color because a lot of the questions had make dinner in them. You see meal kit the same color because a lot of the questions here, again, this is that Blue Apron data from 2 slides ago. You see meal kit the same color and linked because words with terms with meal led to terms with kit, and meal kit often occurred together. But you don't see, fresh and country as the same color because it doesn't make sense to search for fresh country in the data set that we're talking about. Maybe in 2020 it makes sense to search for fresh country, but I'll get into that later. So, and you see the graph starts to emerge, and you can get some insights out of this graph. You can look at, hey, people that are looking for this are also interested in this other thing. And you see the relevant data, like coronavirus comes up in this data. It's real time, not really real time, but it's way more real time than our 2019 searches from Keyword Planner. And you can start to get all the insights. You can start to learn what people are looking for. And so in this case, one of the insights we pulled out, despite no one ever searching it, was people just want to make dinner easy. And that really resonated with clients. We zoom in on that, and you can put a marketing program around make dinner easy. Even though no one actually typed that into Google, that's the content they wanted. That's the content that's going to resonate with that client. Right? And you can get some more insights. Here's some stuff for Universal Orlando. Theme park visitors. One of the things they're really interested in is, what do I eat and drink in the park? You're only there for one day. There's a million different restaurants. There's a million different themes. They want tips. They want recommendations. What should I eat while I'm there at the park? And so that was something we uncovered for Universal Orlando using this same method. Is, hey, you should put some food recommendations or get some food bloggers or foodie people to come on and say, hey, here's the type of stuff you should eat. Here's what we recommend. You know, here's the gourmet stuff. Don't just, you know, don't waste your opportunity. A couple other insights here. You know, people for some reason in 2019 are still interested in last minute cruises from Florida, even though they might not have searched that. The data is pretty clear. Not sure why anybody would want to go on a cruise in 2020, but hey, they're probably cheap. Halloween's coming up, so a couple Halloween insights. Your raisins are the worst Halloween candy, clearly, according to search data. Other than, I don't know, in my personal opinion, it'd be those random generic brown and orange candies. I have no idea what they are, but raisins are pretty bad too. And your dog wants to be a Star Wars character. If you're doing a dog costume, Star Wars character for dogs is it this year. Couple election insights. I'm not going to get political here, but I can see that people in Dallas are really worried about traffic right now on election day. So if you're planning on voting on election day and haven't voted by mail or voted early, you should probably plan a little extra time for traffic, just given the fact of how many people are worried about traffic. And I'll leave you guys with, you know, no matter who you're voting for, it's election season, please go vote. And that's it. I mean, if you guys want to chat, it's at Ryan Jones on Twitter. Hit me up. I hope you found something useful. I hope you tune into the live presentation instead of this this whiskey-fueled recording. And I hope you found it useful. So thank you so much.